live. It is noon, so we'll get this thing kicked off. So hang on just a second. Well, hello. I am very excited to have you all here today. We are doing Life's Copilot is doing a webinar today on how to stay at home safe. A lot of people are wanting to age at home. There are resources that can come into play to help you do just exactly that. And we've got some experts here that can help you understand that process. And we can go from there. So I'm going to just kind of let everybody introduce themselves, what you do, what your company does, and go from that, what your scope of services are. And then we'll kind of get into a conversation. So Jack, tell me who AmRamp is and who Jack Barlow is and what you guys do.
Yes, Jack Barlow. I'm with AmRamp, and we are owned by Pathfinder Services in Northern Indiana. Pathfinder Services is a nonprofit organization that is designed to help the mentally challenged. We have group homes, we have in-house services, we have day services to help the mentally challenged. But if our group homes are completely full, we still don't bring enough money in from Medicare and Medicaid. So we have to constantly be having fundraisers. And one of the things that we've done is we bought this franchise, AmRamp, and all of our revenue from AmRamp then goes to help people stay in their homes, help the mentally challenged stay in group homes. What we do at AmRamp is we provide accessibility. If you think about your house, think about all of a sudden now you're in a wheelchair. Is anything going to be hard for you to do? And the answer is almost always yes. I can't get into my house. If I'm in my house, I can't get upstairs. If I'm in the bathroom, I can't get into the shower. So all those things we're here to help you with. We have ramps available, wheelchair ramps. We have stair lifts available. We have vertical platform lifts. We do grab bars. So we do about anything that you need to be able to get into your house. We also have a couple of things that we do that is kind of our niche. We're very quick turnaround. We have, and I never promised this, but we have in the past done one in the same day. I had an insurance company call me and say, hey, I need a ramp in, and I need it in today. And I'm like, well, we're taking one down. And luckily, we had enough material on that when they took one down, we just went over and put one up for them. So we can do it as fast as the day. So if you're in a nursing home and they release you, say you can go home as soon as you get a ramp, call me and we can get you in right away. We also either sell the ramps or you can also rent them. And you can rent them by the week. So you're not out a lot of money if you just need them for a couple of weeks, or if there's a special event, your parents are coming over and they can't get into the house. We'll put a ramp up for the weekend, come back Monday, take it down for you. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to make the house accessible for you so that you don't have to worry about leaving your house. Many people are afraid about leaving their house. They don't want to leave their house, and we can help them so that they can stay in your house for a much longer time.
Excellent. Well, Judy Watke, why don't you tell us who you are and what you do?
Well, my name is Judy Watke. I am a realtor through Ability Plus in our 20th year in real estate this year. And my husband and I work together as a team. We've both been in the business and have both been with RE/MAX for 20 years. And we work a lot with clients who are transitioning into senior living or transitioning into a downsizing home, and just being able to have these resources from Life's Copilot to give to them has been a huge benefit for us and our clients. I can't tell you, Jim, how many times I refer to Life's Copilot at least 2 or 3 times a week. To watch a specific video or watch a specific session on something Two people last week I talked to about reverse mortgages. So Jack Barlow has been out to my mother-in-law's house for accessibility services and he's put up some handrails for it. So this has just been a great resource for us and helps us help our clients much more effectively in working with seniors and their family members that are trying to help them downsize.
Well, thank you. And you're sitting out in the campgrounds right now, which is,
I
you
am.
know,
I'm in the RV.
sounds like a pretty
Yeah.
good deal. Yeah. So
It's the
anyway,
beauty of technology.
yeah, perfect. Well, let's see here. Let's go to Cindy. Cindy, are you on here?
I'm muted.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks for having me on. I am Cindy Garlick with Organizing Remedies. I'm the Cure for Your Clutter, and I'm a professional home organizer. And I like to say professional declutterer because clutter causes so much grief in our homes. And especially with this topic today, I've got a few clients that they just have so much stuff that if they were to have a fire, they couldn't get out. People could not get in. Emergency vehicle or emergency personnel and that sort of thing. Not only if it would get to that extreme, but just the fact that just getting around their house, they're almost tripping over their pets because they don't have a path, or the pet barely has a path to get through. And if they were to have to get out, or even if they weren't having to get out, but just moving around their home easily, they're in danger of falling. And we know what that means, hips and all those other things that would have to be fixed and don't heal very quickly in the elderly. So that is my concern with getting clutter out of people's pathways, doorways, and that sort of thing. So they can have a better life every day. And God forbid there's an emergency that people could get to them to get them out.
I was muted. So anyway, that's very good. I went ahead and muted myself for a minute. So let's go to the next one here. So we've got Amber. So Amber, tell us who you are and what you guys do.
Hi, I am Amber Gerard. I'm with Home Care Assistance, and we provide what's called non-medical home care, also called private duty home care. We provide all of the non-medical needs, which basically means everything but a trach or feeding tube. But we provide all of that in home, so people can stay in their home as long as possible and live independently with what I call a personal assistant to help them kind of with their everyday needs. And we do a lot of dementia and Alzheimer's care, a lot of Parkinson's care, and a lot of post-stroke care. So, and then temporarily, if people need us on a temporary basis, a lot of times that looks like helping them transition home from a surgery or from some type of hospitalization, so we can help on a temporary basis as well. So that is what I do.
Very good. Jason, tell us who you are and what you do.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm Jason Bond with Hoosier Mobility Solutions. We're a local family-owned durable medical equipment and supply company. And so we provide patients and their families with the items and products needed to help folks age in place at home. We really try to serve that community, those that are coming out of the hospital, out of rehab, wanting to spend as much time as they can in their homes. We provide everything from scooters to lift chairs to mobility ramps. We do in-home sort of evaluations and customization projects to make the home more suitable for people as well. We also rent these items, so if people are needing them on a short-term basis, we provide that as well. So again, everything from scooters and stair lifts, lift chairs, kind of you name it, to help patients, again, get around more easily in their own home.
Well, excellent. So let's see. Nicole, tell me who you are and what you do. I guarantee most people don't know that what you guys do exists in the world. So.
Well, I also want to thank you for having me on, Jim. I'm Nicole Hearn. I'm with Caregiver Homes. We are a provider of structured family caregiving through the Medicaid Aged and Disabled waiver. So we definitely, our goal is to help folks stay at home for as long as possible. And we do that by helping to educate, coach, and equip a loved one to be that person's caregiver. So how we differ from what Amber does is it would already be somebody in the home with the client. So whether that's a spouse, an adult child, or even just a trusted friend, they do have to live together. But we have clinical oversight and a financial stipend that is made available to the caregiver. So for folks who maybe are discharging home from a hospital or a rehab stay, or perhaps want to prevent either one of those things, if they have somebody that's living with them and they are either on Medicaid or would qualify for Medicaid, there's a good chance that they would be eligible for our program. So we are in every county in Indiana, which means we also work very closely with the local area agencies on aging. So depending on what county you're in the state. So for instance, I live in Evansville. So here at SWRCA that we work very closely with for waiver services. The clinical oversight is provided by an RN. And then we also have care managers. Most of them have social work degrees, but really their role is matching resources in the community with our families. The nurse is going to communicate with the caregiver on a daily basis, and then they're paid twice a month. And that pay range is anywhere from $900 to $1,200 a month. And it's just made available to kind of help offset some of that financial burden that's associated with being a caregiver. And then that clinical support is really made available through coaching and education on whatever their loved one's healthcare picture and diagnoses might be. So it's very client specific. And again, the goal is just to help folks stay at home and do it successfully and safely. So that's who we are.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Paul, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, thanks for Jim, and welcome everybody. Listening to most everybody else speak, you guys are in a role to try to keep people in their home. We typically step in when that is no longer possible. They've either passed away or they have to go to an assisted living. But what we do, I'm with Caring Transitions Indy West, and we help families when they need to transition in a living circumstance. So we work mainly with seniors. And it is, they've got a home. The home is the asset. The stuff isn't the asset, but they've got to get the home emptied and cleaned out so it can get put on the market or it can go to closing. So we do sorting and organizing. If there's boxes that have been in the home for 35 years and need, to find personal papers, personal pictures for the family, we do liquidation to help them get some money from the items in the house. One of the main reasons why I do what I do is kind of the next phase, and it's donations. We work with a couple of organizations that help homeless people get reestablished. So we donate to them. They actually come to the house, so I don't have to charge the client to do donations. And the things are going to good use. They're being provided to people for free. And then the final piece is cleaning it out and getting the house empty. There are other estate sale companies out there that have a sale and then they leave the family with the mess. So we will get the house empty, broom swept, clean, so it can be either listed and or closed upon.
Well, very good. Like I said, and I'm speaking from a weird hat because I also Caring Transitions franchise on the north side of town. And, there are things like, for instance, I have an appointment next week with a lady who her geriatric care manager is wanting us to come in and declutter it because she thinks she can stay there and live there safely if we get it safe. And right now it's, from what I have not seen it, but I've been told it is not. So, so there are things you can do, or maybe working with Judy to downsize someone from a bigger house into a smaller house and getting rid of all the excess. So those are a lot of different areas here. So guys, I think that one of the things that we're finding out a lot of people really want to do is try to stay at home, and how to, or when I say at home, it may not be the home they're living in. It might be a smaller one. It might be an apartment. It might be a condo, but stay independent, I suppose, is the best way to put that. Okay. Because if they're living in a, house that all the bedrooms are upstairs, that may not be their best choice. I mean, they can get with Jack to put ramps in and stuff, but I was going to say, Jason, I think you guys do that kind of stuff too. But there's that option, or they can downsize to a smaller, more easily taken care of house, and there's people here to help with that. So Amber, I see right now as I'm looking up at my screen, you're off to my left, so I'm just going to pick on you for a second.
Yeah.
You guys come in as a home care company. You've got a wide range of services that you provide. And so I think a lot of people don't really realize what that means. I think they think it's just medical. You guys do medical stuff. It's like, but you also do like light housekeeping and cook dinner and do sheets. And I mean, tell me how can you help that family stay there, make their caregivers, their life easier?
Yeah. So I always say, everyone goes, what do you do? And I said, it's so customizable per each person and per each household. So we can be in the home for as little as 4 hours a day, all the way up to 24/7. And we can be as hands-on or hands-off as people want us to be. So a lot of times we'll start out with light housekeeping or meal prepping. Some people aren't able to walk to vacuum their home or bend over to clean the toilets. And so we can help with that. I'm sure you guys all hear stories of, as people age, they tend to eat ice cream and popcorn because it's the easiest for them to manage, and they all desire improved nutrition, but we can come in and kind of help with that. So we can start at such a low baseline. And then as trust is built with the caregiver and as needs change over time, we can start helping with getting them to the restroom and helping them in the restroom, maybe helping them with bathing. Medication management is a huge one too, because we all know what happens if you miss your medication or if you take too much of your medication. So we really make sure to step in from a medication management standpoint. And then lastly, I think families really love us because historically everyone grew up and stayed in the same hometown. And so you were able to visit mom or dad once or twice or 3 times a week and kind of keep an eye on them. Now families are dispersing. And so you've got mom on the East Coast and the kids are on the West Coast, and they can't get eyes and ears on mom. And mom's telling me everything's great, everything's good. And then you come home for Thanksgiving and everything's not great. So to have that extra eyes and ears in the home, I know my particular company, Home Care Assistance, has what we call the family room, so they can log in, view all the care notes from every shift. They can communicate with our client care manager about any ongoing questions or concerns. So I think that kind of extra eyes and ears piece for the family is another kind of added bonus of why people are really excited that home care is growing, and it's a great option for people.
Now you have a 4-hour minimum. Is that how it works, or?
We do. Not everyone does, but yes, we do.
Okay. Okay. So basically you can augment someone so they can stay in the house they're living in now. Maybe they're in assisted living, or maybe they're independent living at a senior community, but it's independent and they can stay in that longer. Maybe they can stay in assisted longer without going to skilled. Is that kind of the stuff that you guys do to augment whatever stage they're at?
Absolutely. And I always say that we really help families as their loved ones are aging. We help them focus their time and energy on the relationship and the quality time that they spend with their loved one. I know I cared for an ailing loved one for 8 years, and it was almost a chore. I hated to admit it, but it felt like a chore. I have to go over there. I have to cook dinner. I have to mow the yard. And so I was going over to my loved one's house, but I wasn't spending any quality time with them. So as they started to pass away, we were able to bring home care in. And so now I didn't have to worry about changing the linens, and I didn't have to worry about, do we have enough meals for the rest of the week? Or I didn't have to worry about helping them in the shower. I got to focus on conversation and quality time spent together. And I think that's kind of the just added bonus that people don't realize until home care comes in.
So you basically let them be family again rather than a worker bee, huh? So, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
You get to be a daughter again. You get to be a spouse again. It's not a caregiver relationship. It's a marriage again. And that's what that value right there is, just priceless.
Well, Jason, you've got people that when they come to you, they may be having some issues of trying to make their house fit them at their current stage. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, we see patients kind of all over the board. We see those that are, just looking for some sort of solution from maybe a lift chair to help them get, up and down out of their living room chair, to those that, need some sort of home modification. And so what we like to do is try to customize our solution to meet each patient's needs, because every one of them is unique. And so we work with individuals and families that are, again, trying to maybe stay in the house that they were in and make some modifications there. As you alluded to earlier, maybe they're going into a smaller home and downsizing, and maybe they're transitioning into an assisted or independent living of some sort. And so we work with all of them across the board to provide whatever those products and solutions might be to help them, with their everyday activities.
Excellent. Well, Cindy, I think that part of the stuff that you have, how many people do you have that you run into that basically the biggest danger they have is falling over some junk they have laying around the house? I mean, if it's, furniture, too much furniture, if it's just too much clutter, is it rugs that are pulling up? What do you run into when you're out there, and how can you help people stay safe?
Yeah, I mean, it can be way too much furniture in a room. Where I had a client that, we had to move a lot of the furniture so that, because she wouldn't let go of it, but it had sharp corners, and there was enough of it that it was, every time she came around that corner, she clipped her leg, that sort of thing. There's people with just too much stuff where the doorways are blocked. Like I said, the pets can't even get through, and they have little dogs. And so they just have to clip their toe on something, and they're down on the ground, and a lot of them are older, and so they can't easily get up. So what we do is basically let go of some of that stuff to bless other people. I believe strongly in giving back to the community, like someone else said, give it to a place that will actually give it to the people that need it for free. So just going through those items and deciding, what's really important to keep and what we can let go of so that we can clear that space. Also, if we can clear a space, maybe they've always lived upstairs, but now it's really hard for them to get upstairs. Then maybe they have this craft room downstairs that they're not really using. Well, maybe we can convert that into a bedroom, get it cleared out, and bring some of that furniture downstairs so that they can feel like, they don't have to go up the stairs to go to bed. And it's just a lot safer for them. But basically clearing out the clutter so they can freely walk. And it's also not only physical clutter, but mental clutter, because it's weighing them down. So if we can have them release some of that, they feel better. They're more engaging with their kids, with their grandkids. They want to have the grandkids over, but there's nowhere for the kids to sit or play. So they don't ever ask the kids and the grandkids to come over. So just releasing all that clutter is just, as probably most people on this panel, once you release the physical clutter, then the mental clutter goes away, the financial clutter, because they're not buying stuff all the time, and they can they have more freedom to live the life they want because they feel better.
Very much. Well, yeah, like I said, I from what I understand, falling is one of the things that causes people to no longer be independent quicker than anything. Is that kind of what you guys have learned as well? So. So Jack, you're kind of in that same thing. You're getting them in and out of their house and around their house. So tell me, when you have, and I love your story too about one of the reasons that you're so passionate about it with what you'd experienced in your own life. But when someone comes to you, do they even know what they want, or they just know that they're in trouble?
Yeah, most of the time they just know they're in trouble. They've just been in an accident, or they've had this situation, or they can't take care of their loved one. They just need help. They just need somewhere to turn. And so it's nice to help them and walk them through the process, and get them to be able to relax a little bit, because most of the time it's older folks and they're just nervous about everything. And we can come in and just calm them down and say, look, next day or two, you'll be able to come in and out of the house. Everything will be fine. And we'll get you taken care of. Especially the calls in the nursing homes. They'll call me and literally be crying. They're like, I want to go home. and we'll take care of you. We'll be there next day or two, and you'll be back home so you can relax. But yeah, they don't know what size ramp they need. They don't know anything. They just know they need to be able to get into the house. And so we'll come and explain to them how things work. It's amazing. They'll think they need a 5-foot ramp when they have 3 steps. And it's like, I don't even think I could walk up that, let alone push somebody, a wheelchair up that, but they just don't have any idea. It just doesn't seem that hard to them. And so we just got to go through and explain everything to them and just give them a peace of mind. And once they relax a little bit, and I can tell them we'll get you in the house in a day or two. They're very receptive.
And like I said, you can do it for a short term as a rehabbing, or you can do it for long term circumstances for them as well, whatever they need. So, Nicole, I absolutely love what you guys do. I think that it's it is highly unique and highly one of the challenges, and I've basically, maybe I'm a masochist, but I have joined all these caregiver support groups like on Facebook and stuff, and the desperation and the overwhelmed and the family dynamics of they all hate their siblings now. There's all these things that because this one's not pulling their weight, or they think they know everything, but they're 1,000 miles away, and all these things I see. One of the challenges for caregivers, and from what I understand from like a Dementia Friends class, that statistically 65% of the time caregivers actually pass before their loved one they're caring for because of the 24/7 365 stress. You guys really come involved, and you are there as a support for, am I getting this right? You guys basically are the caregivers support person, not you're helping them support their one, but you're focused on the caregiver only, and then you're basically bringing in even financial resources to help them. Is that correct?
Correct.
Well, tell me when someone has enough, they've been blessed enough to find out that you exist and they call you. Tell me what you're going to do for them, how that works.
So you're right about the stress and the burden, and our company was really designed to alleviate that as much as possible, because we know that the caregivers on our program, they don't have medical degrees. We don't expect them to have some kind of healthcare background. They're just caring for their loved one because they know that they either made a promise to not put them in a nursing home, or they just don't want to see that for their loved one. And we saw that especially last year with COVID. And so our goal is to come alongside that person, the coaching and education regarding their loved one's diagnoses and medication, but then also helping them manage that stress, whether that's helping them identify additional support systems. One of the awesome things that's in place right now because of COVID, there have been some allowances made where companies such as Ambers can also come into the home to assist the caregiver. So in tandem, they can have our service as well as an attendant care type service, which traditionally isn't allowed at the same time. So I think that the healthcare picture for our state of Indiana, there's been a lot of changes because of COVID, and what might have looked good on paper, people quickly realized wasn't meshing out in reality. And so when someone comes on service with us, they're assigned a care team. So again, no matter what county they live in Indiana, they're going to get a nurse and a care manager that's assigned to them. And that's their team. That's their support system for the length of time that they're on the program with us. Our number one reason for discharge is death. So we're meeting that goal of folks wanting to stay home as long as possible. And that care team is going to communicate with the caregiver daily. They do have to submit, the caregiver submits a note, just to kind of—
I got it muted. I forgot I had it muted.
Just to kind of help our nurse get an idea of how the day went. And then she can provide feedback, answer questions and or concerns, help the caregiver establish a doctor's appointment, or if they don't have a primary care physician yet, she helps them get established with an office. Just whatever we can do to help alleviate that caregiver's stress and sense of burden. And then again, that financial piece, we see a lot of times folks either needing to quit a job or cut back on hours because their loved one just perhaps isn't safe to be home alone, and there isn't any other option, but bills still have to get paid, right? Food still has to get on the table. And so that financial stipend helps with all of those things. So they get the clinical support and the financial support. And even for folks who aren't on our program, maybe they're not eligible for Medicaid or for whatever reason, we have a Facebook group called Caregiver Nation that hundreds and thousands of people utilize all over the country. And we hear all the time people say, oh my gosh, I was up at 2 a.m. and logged on, and somebody else was awake at the same time and knows exactly what I'm going through. And we had a long conversation and I feel so much better. Just knowing you're not alone a lot of times is a huge relief, and feeling supported, feeling heard, because doctors' offices are great, but the appointments are super quick. I know I just took my son to his appointment the other day, and there was literally a timer on the outside of the door that beeped, and she had to go. And so, our nurse is just a phone call away and is able to spend that time with the caregiver, listen to questions and concerns, and provide that support.
But what I love about everybody is supporting the caregiver at least secondhand because they're helping get a task off their plate. But watching, what you're focused on that person as more so probably than the actual person they're caring for, which I think is a very cool model. Paul, people come to you. I know a lot of it. I understand your world better than a lot of the other ones because I'm kind of in it as well. But it is. People come to us or into the caring transition world, they need to get downsized, they need to do whatever. But there's so many different emotions that are tied to that as well, that that I think that's part of almost being that arm's length party that can help see things as, and Cindy, I suppose the same thing is here. They don't have the lifetime of emotions attached to that thing, so we can help them get through that next stage. Tell me, when someone comes to you, what do you find is a normal circumstance? They're trying to move from where they are to their big 5-bedroom 2-story house on acreage, and they're trying to move to a small condo. What can you do to help them through that transition?
So, yeah, and I heard somebody else say that this, it might have been Amber, but every situation is a little bit different. I tell people that we do as much or as little as somebody wants to pay for. And it's also, I don't do anything that a person can't do on their own. But I don't have the emotion and the sentiment tied to things. That generation is typically travel and getting that type of thing was much harder back then. So they collected things to show, that was their experience. And I think, Amber mentioned this as well, that, really the people now are figuring out that it's experiences and it's memories that are more important than the stuff. And to them, it is emotion, but to the rest of the world, it is just stuff. And that's the hardest part of what we do, is trying to communicate that dining room table that you've eaten dinner with your family for the past 50 years, nobody else cares about that. And it's not worth $5,000. It's not worth $10,000. It's worth $75. And getting them through that, getting them over that. And Cindy mentioned that it's hard to get them past that. But where we can come in is, again, there's been some sort of, if somebody hasn't always passed, somebody isn't always going into assisted living. Sometimes they are still going to live independently, but as Jim said, it's going to be a smaller place. So we have to convince them or tell them that everything in their 3,000 square foot house is not going to fit in their 1,800 square foot independent living home. And, try to help them make the hard decisions of, this is what you truly, need. And these are the collectibles that you truly need. And instead of having 800 Hummels, maybe we get it down to 8 Hummels and get rid of the rest. But so dealing with that part is the hardest thing when that person is still around and able and part of those decisions, because again, it is very emotional and sentimental to them, but you have to try to remove them from that.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that too is, and I think that all of us, you made a comment that there's nothing that we're doing that somebody else couldn't do on their own. Well, I think that's a lot of us are in that boat. That is, we're providing a service. I know that when I'm talking to a caring transition client, I'm going, you're not hiring me because you can't do it yourself. You're not hiring me because I'm cheaper than you doing it yourself. What you're hiring me for is to save your back, your own sanity, your family relationships, and your, in putting a value on your time, So, I mean, I think Amber would probably say many of the same things under that same category. I think, a lot of us, we're basically taking things off their shoulders so they can actually stay with their life rather than basically just taking care of all these different things. I'm going to do something here real quick. I saw somebody was on as a guest, and I'm going to bring them on because I want to pick their brain as well. So anyway, so Rock's going to get in there as well. But what was I going to? Oh, I don't know what I was going to ask you. Judy, tell me when you're working with a client, they're downsizing out of the family home that they've been in forever, okay, and now they're looking at trying to find a way to stay independent. You happen to be a senior real estate specialist, so I know you're an SERS designation, so you have that expertise as well as being an expert as a realtor. What's the process you're going to walk someone through to help them? Because again, they're carrying emotional baggage. I raised my kids here. I have, all my kids' stuff here, and they're going to need this, right? Cindy, all the kids want all the things that they had when they were in high school. They're still on the wall, But so, what do you do to help walk people through that process? You're muted here, kiddo. Hang on a second, Jerry. You're muted. There you go.
Okay. Well, I think you muted me.
Well, I don't know if I did or not, but anyway.
We spend a good majority of time just counseling people on what their options are. And a lot of times we get calls from past clients or individuals who have a family member that needs to transition, or they're starting to think about making that next step, and what do we need to do, what do we need to put in place to get there. So a lot of times when we go out to meet with someone, we're counseling them on what their options are. A lot of people don't know how many services there are available to them that they can use to help them make this transition or to help them stay in the home. Usually, they've already made that decision that they need to move, or they need to want to downsize into a condo or a ranch home. So kind of our process with them is to make sure that that's really what they have decided, what their plans are as far as getting ready to move, what they're going to do with all of their belongings and things, how they're going to fit those into the next home, and really just being able to have the resources from Life's Co-Pilot at our fingertips to say, because as everyone has said, people just don't know where to get started, and they can't move past the clutter to get to the next step. And so a lot of what we do is just counseling them on what their options might be, what the services are that are out there, how we can help them with timing as far as moving out, maybe selling, buying and purchasing the next home and getting into that new space without too much disruption, without having to go rent something in the short term. So a lot of that we do is just counseling and talking with people and helping them work through some of their questions and concerns. And getting them over that hump to be able to make good decisions. And many times we don't end up selling anything. You know, a lot of times they decide, you know what, I can use these services and I can stay in my home. Or something else has come up where a family member has decided to move in. So there are a lot of things that can take place where they are able to stay in the home and maybe not have to downsize. Of course, we would love to be able to sell their home, but that's not always, you know, that's not our goal. Our goal is to help them make a good decision. And if their family members are involved in that, then we more than welcome that.
Well, as you know, my background is in real estate as well, and I had a neighborhood that I was selling in for years. That 90% of my clientele were moving out of big acre-sized lots with these big 4, 5, 6 bedroom houses, and they were moving into our quarter, like 50-foot by 100-foot lots with about half the size square footage house. And what I would find is they didn't have to move. They knew they should. Okay, the other house wasn't working, and they'd come in, and as soon as they'd walk into this other house, and they get sticker shock because they go, how can I buy a brand new house that's half the size of what I'm on about 1/10 of the size of the yard, and it's more money, So I think that there's like a thought shock there. Then they go back to their place and they look at 40 years of accumulation of stuff, and I think they go into freeze mode. They're just overload, like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And so they just kind of go into, I can't deal with it.
Right.
People like yourself to guide them, people like Paul to come in and say, look, you don't have to do all this. We can take, That's really where all this comes in, to take that deer out of the headlight look out of people's eyes. Is that Jason, would you say that that's something you run into as well, where they feel like they're overwhelmed? Maybe they're trying to figure out how to make this house work. I mean, what do you run into out there? I mean, anybody you can throw in on this one. So
yeah,
sometimes they just need, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Jason.
No, I'm sorry, Judy, go ahead.
I was going to say, sometimes they just need to know where to start. A lot of times they don't even know where to begin. And once you come in and start talking to them about, well, if you're going to sell, here are the things we need to do, that gives them a place to start and helps give them a direction. And sometimes we might work with someone for 2 years until they get to the point where they're ready to make that decision or ready to make that move. But during that 2 years, we may go back 3 or 4 times to, okay, I did this part. Now, what else can I do, or what do I need to do next?
Well, by the way, I just brought someone on. I saw that he was in one of our attendees and guests, so I just promoted him to a panelist because I wanted to pick his brain because it fit. I was sitting there thinking about earlier that I should have had Rock on here because I saw him and I go, great. Part of all this process of how to stay at home and how to age at home is going to be financial. How do you do it? How do you come up with the money? These services are not free. I know that, the caring transitions were not free. I'm Cindy. I don't know that you do it for free or not. I don't think so, but I know that Amber doesn't, so there's costs involved. How could we possibly pay for this? So Rock is a reverse mortgage specialist. Okay. And so there's so many things that can be done there that could be such a great financial tool to be able to afford these services, So Rock, would you explain who you are and what you do and all that kind of stuff? So.
Yeah, well, thank you, Jim. I didn't expect to be on this, but hey, let's go for it. I was really enjoying listening to the folks, whether it be Judy or Nicole or, Paul, everybody, especially Jack. What I do is I'm a reverse mortgage planner. And so my clients, at least one of them 62 years or older. And what we do sometimes is just enable. We enable folks to downsize, to buy houses with less money, to just be able to afford the services that they need to enjoy their retirement years. In fact, within our company, I just joined a focus group that we're going to be working to help with healthcare providers because we solve their number 2 problem. Their number 1 problem, as I understand it, is staffing. They're trying to have enough staff to help service all these people. I can't really help with that. But number 2 is being able to help their clients pay for their services. And so we can do that with a reverse mortgage. There's this stigma that you cannot touch the equity in a house. And that's kind of a dated situation. So often we hear about people being house rich and cash poor. All right, well, if they've got that bucket of equity, let's use it to provide these services. Let's have them reach out to Jack to make these homes more accessible and comfortable, and let's help them provide or be able to pay for the services that they need. Or maybe someone is in a long-term care facility, and now we're talking about how do we pay for that, or how do we just go have fun. I've got a client that one of her things was she just wanted to free up cash flow to go fishing. I thought this was a big trip. She says, no, I would just like to be able to have enough money to spend 3 days in Brown County. And so we help with that. I've got a client I spoke with earlier, to Judy's point, and we're talking about downsizing. And they're talking about first paying cash. And then I showed them, well, you can pay cash for this. That's great. But you could pay half the money down and have this larger pool of cash to take care of the things you're going to need as you age in place. So again, I'm kind of an enabler, and I'm excited to hear what everyone else is talking about, because I think there's ways that we can help them do what they need to do to help people have better retirements.
Well, Jack,
Actually-
Rock, I wanted to bring you on simply because of the fact that I know a lot of people are trying to figure out how they're going to pay for Amber's company, or how they're going to pay for, for Paul to come out, or how they're going to do this, because you look at that and go, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, this, just because you do a reverse, it's not like it used to be, or what most people think. You don't have, you don't have to pull it all out at one time. You can or not. You can also just leave it in as a line of credit and use it as you need it. I need to pay Amber's company for a while, so I can pull a little out, but I don't pay interest on it until I do, and I never make a payment. So that's why I really wanted to show this, because it's a great opportunity. I know, Judy, when you're looking to help people find a place, this is a way they can do it without having to come up with more money or stay real estate rich and cash poor. So I just wanted to
I
bring
actually have a quick question for Rock, if I
Okay.
can ask
Oh,
quick. I know, like my company especially, we do accept Medicaid. We also accept long-term care insurance, but both of those payment models require some preparation and some pre-planning. Medicaid's not approved overnight. Long-term care insurance, you typically have to sign up for years and years in advance. So what's the turnaround time? Let's say someone looking for non-medical home care. What's the turnaround time when they start working with you?
oh, we're doing purchases in 17 calendar days, and we're doing refinances within 30. So
That's great.
we can help cover that gap.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're trying to tell people, especially healthcare providers, is we're great for that gap period. And so to Jim's point, now we've taken those individuals that may have had a mortgage, in some cases, we've made any mortgage payment optional. Now they still have to pay taxes and insurance, any HOA, but there's even situations where we can help set that up so they don't have to worry about that too. It can be set up in an escrow. But the short answer to your question is if the borrower is working with us, that's 30 days or less.
Yeah. I know a lot of families, when I start working through that process with them, get very discouraged about the amount of time. So that's why I asked and wanted to hear kind of your experience with it.
It can be 30 days or less. And then after that, it can be set up where it can be a lump sum distribution to them. It can be a lump sum and a term where we decide, they decide over a certain period of time, they want to take out X amount of money, or it can be for life. We can figure that out as well. And what's nice is that they can adjust that during that term too.
Sorry, Jim. Didn't mean to
Oh no, that's
steal it
perfect.
from
I'm
you.
glad. That's what I brought him up here for. So I knew that he had resources that y'all needed to hear as well. So one thing I was going to suggest too is, with this kind of a thought process, just thinking out of the box. One of the challenges that people that want to downsize or whatever, this does solve that problem for them. But most people don't know you can actually purchase with one of these programs. So you can actually buy that new home and then still keep that line of credit to pay for you guys to come in to support them in that home. They can pay to have, Jason and Jack come in, or they can pay to have Amber's people come in through that extra money that they're not using. So probably what I understand from most baby boomers is that most of their money is tied up in their house. So that's why I just wanted to, to explain this. So guys, tell me what are you seeing out there? And I don't care who wants to take this. What are you seeing out there for those people that are trying to stay home? I think I think COVID created a even stronger demand on people wanting to try to age at home. I think a lot of people got worried because they saw where a lot of the places kind of shut down for a period of time. What are you seeing that you can that when people are coming into you, what is their biggest question, concern, fear that you guys help overcome? And whoever wants to start on this, I think that would be because whoever's going to watch this video, they probably have those fears. They just don't know if they want to articulate them, so.
I can start. I know a big thing for us, during COVID, loved ones were staying at home. And so they were able to kind of work from home, care for their loved ones all at the same time. Now everyone's going back to work and their loved one knows what it's like to stay at home and to live independently at home. And they don't want to move. And the loved one, the caregivers are having to go back to work, back into their office. And so we've been getting a lot of calls of mom's a little comfortable, dad got comfortable. And so they're trying to supplement what they were doing before they had to go back into the office. So that's been a big thing for us too. It's just kind of working with families on what their new routines have been over the past 12 to 18 months.
Anybody else have something on that one? Or
I just have seen the toll this past year has taken on seniors living at home by themselves and being isolated. So I think that a lot of the services that are provided, if people would or could take advantage of those, I mean, having someone, your mother or grandparent or whoever it is, being home by themselves for that extended period of time during the shutdown with very little contact, or not being able to go do the things that they've been able to do and love to do, having the home health care assistance or those types of things where people are just able to come in and visit with them and help them do laundry or help them fix their meals, because they do get comfortable and don't want to fix their meals. They don't eat because it's too much trouble to fix something. So that's kind of some of the things that we've seen. And I think that it would be very helpful for family members to recognize and see that if their parents or their grandparents are trying to live independently and stay at home, they probably do need some assistance or services, just to have a little weekly check-in with someone that's not a family member, because I have seen how that does become more of a responsibility or more of a, oh, I have to get over there. Like Amber was saying, I have to go mow the lawn, or I have to go get mom's groceries, where if they had someone else doing that, then you could spend that more quality time with that individual, and be a family member again, or a spouse and not a caregiver.
Very good. One thing I was going to ask real quick is, anyone watching this that goes, guys, I'd like to know more about this, and I'd like to talk to you. Do you guys charge to talk to them initially? Is it free to have a consultation? Tell me what it's like, and let you all go down the line. I don't care who starts here. Paul, you're on my far left here, so we'll start with you. So what's it like to call you, or, how scary are you?
Anybody can reach out. I'm happy to provide information, on an initial phone call. And then, if they want to go further, then I come out and do an initial consultation and give my advice. It's free of charge. And, I just want to help people, and I tell them whether we do business or not, my phone's available to you. I'd be happy to reach out. And, through activities like this, I say, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a home health care provider, but I can help you get in touch with somebody that is. So I like to try to be the one-stop shop for people to answer any questions they may have.
Excellent. Amber.
Yeah, I am available whenever someone needs me.
You're not
we do-
scary?
I'm not scary, I promise. Yeah, I'm happy to chat with people and kind of direct them. If I can't help them, I will find someone who can. So we play really well in the sandbox with other home care companies too, who have different minimums than we do. So like I said, if I'm not the best fit, that's okay. We'll get you to who you need to. But yeah, everything, our assessments are free of charge. You don't have to pay to talk to me on the phone either. So, and I keep my contact information pretty public. So if you need me, you even send a smoke signal. I'll find it.
Very good. Cindy.
I don't believe I am scary either. I offer free consultations, and we usually do that via phone. Find out what's working, what's not working, what their stressors are, what they're kind of, if they have any idea of a plan. I can also be a resource for them. We can also do virtual organizing. We can also do, if they say, you know, a lot of people tell me, oh, I'm not a hoarder. That's like really important to them. And it's funny that it's like, okay, well, send me, you know, I can't exactly see what you're talking about because I'm not standing there. Send me some photos or send me a video of the space so that I have some idea and see if we're going to be a good fit together. And if we're not, I have other resources as well.
Very good. Judy.
Yeah. Always available to talk to someone to help them walk through the process of buying or selling or trying to figure out what they need to do. Our consultations are free of charge, and I promise not to make you buy or sell a house if you don't want to.
Jack.
Yeah, nobody has an idea how much a ramp will cost. I mean, you just don't see it advertised in the newspaper every day or on TV saying our ramps are $3,500. You just don't see that. So nobody has any idea what a ramp will cost. So I'm more than happy to give them a ballpark idea. I talk to them on how many steps do you have? Do you have a landing? Are you going to make a turn? And I can give them a rough ballpark. And then once I do that, if they're happy with that and they're okay, then I will set up a time to come out, talk to them, and there will be no charge for any of that. And so we can give them a good idea about what it'll cost before I even come out. And then we'll just design it how they want it while I'm there. And if they're in a real hurry, quite often we can use Google Maps. I can see what their house looks like. I pretty much tell how tall the steps are and where they need to go. And I can give them an exact price over the phone, and we'll have it out there that day or the next day for them. So, and of course, none of that there's a charge for. You know, I think everybody in our industry, and I talk about healthcare industry, it's just amazing to me how the first thing that people want to do is just help people. You know, obviously we've got to get compensated for it or we won't be able to help people. But the main thing is, and all of us on this panel just want to help people. And so we most, as you hear, nobody's charged just to help them, to give them advice. And that's kind of the way I am. I can talk to them and help them out. And if it's something I can do for them, then I'll come out, see what we can do and see if we can get you a ramp.
Excellent. Jason, I've been in your showroom, so I know you have a showroom. Tell me what it works like with you. Is it showroom or is it you come to where, make a phone call, and you tell me what it's like to work with you? And
Yeah, well, I'll just reiterate kind of what Jack was just saying. And we're here to help, and we want to try to provide the best possible solution to each patient. As you alluded to, we do have a showroom. A lot of folks want to come in and sit on a scooter or try out a lift chair. Kind of get a feel, touch it. Obviously these are things you can get online, but a lot of people want to come in and take a look at it and see what they're getting before they make that purchase. Whether that's in the showroom or in the home, it's always a free consultation. It kind of depends on what they're looking to have done. If it's something that's more of a home modification that we need to come out and actually see on site what we're getting into and what needs to be done, we'll come out to the house and sit down with them and have that conversation. If it's something that they want to see some of the products that we carry, whether it's scooters, lift chairs, other mobility equipment. They can come into the showroom, and schedule a time to come in and make an appointment, or drop in anytime during our business hours. And you can always find us online on our website, Facebook, via phone, whatever way someone wants to reach out, we're here for them.
Excellent. Thank you. So Nicole, you're all over the state as well. I was going to pick on Jack. He's a road warrior. He covers everywhere. But so you guys, are you the contact for the whole state right now, or I know you are helping us there in the middle central too. So.
Right. Thankfully, no, I am not responsible for the whole state. But for folks who are interested, kind of like Jason, we can be found anywhere on social media. And there is an 866 number that folks can call. And when they do, they'll immediately get matched to the correct representative based on their location. No charge whatsoever for any part of our program. We're the ones paying the caregiver. So that's how we're unique to everyone else on this panel. But kind of to Amber's point about Medicaid and the length of time, and that being some of the hesitancy we see, folks think, oh gosh, they're going to take my house and my car, and et cetera, et cetera. Not for home and community-based services. You get to keep your home and you get to keep one car. And what we're doing right now, if you live in Socoa's coverage area, so they're in that central Indianapolis region, we're doing a pilot because of COVID. Medicaid had asked us, we're able to get folks Medicaid and the age and disabled waiver immediately. So I'm able to log on the portal, do a Medicaid application, and as soon as I hit submit, we get a determination. So they said it will go 6 months past the public health emergency. So at least till the end of the year, we're already into July. So it's just another way to get our services in the home faster and not have to wait, 90 days or whatever it normally is for Medicaid. So.
Excellent. Well, by the way, I was sitting there thinking as you were talking about the Medicaid, I should have had a elder law attorney on here to explain how they do that, how one spouse could be on Medicaid, the other spouse is not, and protect that asset. That's for another panel. We have it coming up. So, so anyway, but let's see, Rock. Could you tell me what it's like how scary are you, I guess, is what I'm trying to figure out. So.
Well, I hope it's not too scary, even with a name like Rock. What happens though with the cases of these type of mortgages, I think more than others, is that they're family loans. It's not uncommon that we're going to have a sibling or a son or daughter involved or an attorney involved. So there's the more people that are kind of involved, I'd prefer to have that up front. Let's get any concerns, let's address any of the reverse mortgage myths. Let's just get them up front. Let's also try to find out what you're trying to accomplish, because these loans can be very flexible with what you're trying to do. So once you kind of get past the fact I don't look or talk like Tom Selleck, and that there are these bad stigmas associated with them, it shouldn't be scary at all, because the end result, which everyone has addressed here, is you're helping someone. And that's kind of a cool thing. Now, if my clients are really a pain, I tell them up front, if you're a pain, I'm going to charge you more. And my fee, and I get it, is a dozen chocolate chip cookies. And so, and I do get those. So, and I think just once people understand that, there might be some stress and we'll get through it, I think they're okay with that. It just takes a team though.
And the myths are, one of the ones is they're not going to take your house. You still get the asset when you sell it. All those things that people just don't know. So
yeah, you've got all the control. It's no different than what they have today. And I'm sure Judy, when she's talking with folks and they come up with about reverse mortgages, they're thinking, well, Judy, someone's going to take my house. It's really hard to default on a reverse mortgage. You don't have a payment that you have to make. All you have to do is pay taxes, insurance, and live in the house the majority of the year.
Yeah,
kind of hard.
We do those as well. I just want to make sure those are a couple of big ones. So, yeah. Well, did I miss anybody on that last go around? I don't think I did. I'm just going to kind of keep track of all this. Let me do a real quick screen share real quick. I just wanted to show you guys what's coming up. This was the panel we just did. Joy's House is having one of our Life Co-Pilot members is having a summer brunch at Joy's House. If you're not familiar with Joy's House, they're an amazing adult day community. So then there's an ice cream social at Jeff Stinson's law firm coming up on the 22nd. And then on the 27th, we're going to be doing one of our panels again. It'll be at 6 p.m. And this one's going to be on basically, it's staying with the same themes, but it's going to be on how to with home care and respite and all that kind of stuff to help support people in this area. So again, thank you for this wonderful panel. You guys did a great job. Brock, thanks for jumping on when I asked you while we're in the middle of the meeting. And guys, I can't believe it. It's that time again, but we will be doing another one in a couple of weeks. So thank you very much. Bye, y'all.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Nicole,
you, everybody. It was great to meet you. I look forward to being able to pass you as a resource for some of my clients. So that's very exciting to me. Very soothing and securing to know that I can help them further along when they get further along. So thank you.
These panels are full of new people, so it works really well. So
Thanks, everyone.
bye-bye,
Thanks,
guys.
everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Nicole, sorry I was talking. I thought I was muted when you were